Hola, soy Conchita Curiel del Espacio de Meditación en el Observatorio de Madrid. Hoy tenemos el honor y el privilegio de tener aquí con nosotros a Wayne Liquorman. Wayne es un conocido profesor de advaita, discípulo de Ramesh Balsekar, y es probablemente uno de los sabios contemporáneos más lúcidos y más claros. Ha escrito multitud de libros y gran parte del año se dedica a dar conferencias y charlas por todo el mundo. Hello, Wayne. Hola, Wayne.
Hola.
Thank you very much for being here. It is really an opportunity and an honor for us to know you a little bit more. The first question I have for you is, you are considered to be a spiritual teacher. And we wonder if there is any difference between a spiritual teacher and any other type of teacher, or professor, or good therapist.
I would say that for a spiritual teacher, the hallmark of a spiritual teacher is that the spiritual teacher has no agenda. By this I mean that there is nothing that what I would call the sage or the spiritual teacher wants from you. And he does not even want you to understand. There's no demand on you from the spiritual teacher. And this is what distinguishes a spiritual teacher from a therapist or many other kinds of teachers, who is there to help you to learn something, either about yourself or about the world. The spiritual teacher is, in my definition, simply presence itself.
Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you. You call your teaching the living teaching.
Yes.
What is this living teaching about? Why do you call it living teaching?
I call it the living teaching because it is concerned with living, with being alive. And this is what I believe is truly spiritual. That the window into what is true, the window into what is essential, is life itself. Because that which is true, that which is the basis for all being, has expressed or manifested as life. So if you want to touch this essence, the place to do it is in life itself, to what is happening with you right now, because you are alive. And your thinking and your feeling and your actions are an expression of this living energy.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You are giving talks all over the world. And we wonder, is there any difference between your talks and any other type of talks or conference or gathering in which people listen to a speaker? Has any special quality, your talks?
I'm sure there are many differences. I can only talk about what this living teaching is. When we gather together, there may be questions, there may be spontaneous speaking from me, there may be periods of silence. This is a living or organic happening, because there's no script, there is no way that I feel it should be. And so, truly, the living teaching itself is about space. It is a creation, if you will, or an allowance of the space in which this understanding can happen. And it happens both at the level of dialogue and the level of intellect, and it also happens at the level of the heart, of the level of the intuition, if you will, which is not so much concerned with getting facts as it is in seeing the entirety or the totality of what is here. So the living teaching is always concerned with the wholeness. And it points to this wholeness which is here. And how that happens, it happens in many different ways. On different days, with different groups, in different countries, in different ways. But always, the focus is on the wholeness that is here.
Thank you. Thank you. You have mentioned that during your talks there are moments of silence that sometimes can be even very long. Has this silence any special quality? Why this silence seems to be so important? Why someone would cross the world 15 hours on a plane just to sit in silence? Why this silence is important or special?
The silence that is in this gathering that we call the satsang, and satsang is a Sanskrit word that means a gathering in truth. And this gathering in truth has its own energy. And that energy, as I said before, can manifest in dialogue, in concepts and ideas, or it can manifest in a very open kind of silent place. And this open, silent place is rare.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it is something that people who are able to appreciate and able to connect to it can find very, very valuable, because it is so rare to have what I would call true silence. And the true silence has to do with this absence of agenda, the absence of something that should be. So there is nothing in this silence other than the silence itself. And that's rare.
What can people expect from you, Wayne? What can they expect from coming to your talks?
Disappointment.
Why disappointment?
Because it is the expectation itself that is often the obstacle. And it usually does not take me very long to identify what it is that is expected. And I invariably do not deliver. And so, most people simply go away because that which they're expecting is not being supplied. But for others, when this space is opened up, the space in which the expectation has been removed, for some people, of relatively few people, they find a very rich silence, a very rich openness, and a very rich possibility of something profoundly deeper. And that is what this living teaching is.
Okay. And finally, do you have any advice for us?
I do. My advice is, do not forget to breathe. It is the only advice that I give to anyone. Do not forget to breathe.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Conchita.
Thank you.
Thank you.